Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole, and in today's video we are looking at design styles. Now I've mentioned before about how I've never really had a design style. Figuring out what works and what doesn't can be very tricky. So if you're in that same boat with me, don't worry, we're gonna talk about several different styles here today. Now there are so many, and there's no way to go over every single one in this video. So we're just going to start off with 5 of the popular ones today, and we'll deep dive later into some other ones as well. But for today, if this sounds like something you're interested in, keep on watching, give this video a like. Let's go. But like I mentioned, my biggest issue in the past has been that I just did not know what it was that I liked. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I didn't know what was out there. So something like this can hopefully help show you a lot of different styles, a lot of different images to get you thinking about what it is that really speaks to you. Even when you're seeing something that you don't like, it helps kind of check off a box, gets you a little bit more narrowed down into your exact style, and helps you figure out what it is that you really do like. You don't know if you like something or not if you don't even know that it exists. And quick note, there is not necessarily one single design style that you'll fit into. Most of us are probably a mix of 2, 3, something like that. So there might be a couple different places that you pull from here, and that is totally normal. The 5 styles we're going to be looking at today are traditional, Scandinavian, Boho, Midcentury Modern, and Farmhouse. Now, all of these you have probably seen a lot. They are very popular right now. And again, maybe you're drawn towards one or another, or maybe you haven't seen anything from some of them, so that can help pull some of this into your style to really curate your home. Getting right into it, we are kicking it off with traditional. So if you're like me, this is probably what you grew up with. This is your parents' house. This is maybe your grandparents' house. Some of the elements with traditional are going to be an emphasis on solid wood. We're also looking at a little bit of that darker wood tone finishes as well. There's a lot of detail, there's a lot of ornateness. You're looking at the legs of a chair and you might have that curvature. You're looking at the back of a chair, it's large, it's tall, it's got that kind of wingback style. There's tufting, but we're looking at the triangle tufting, not the square tufting. That kind of gets us into another area altogether. Ornate chandeliers, that gold, that bright gold, not necessarily the antique gold that we see right now, but that kind of shiny brass gold finish, very big in the traditional style. We're looking at oil paintings. We're looking at those intricate rug designs. There's so much that you've probably seen throughout your life that really falls into this category of traditional. Now, some people, this can seem maybe a little bit ornate, a little bit stuffy, and if you're getting those vibes off of it, that's one of the ways you know that this is not a style for you. Traditional really leans into a little bit more of a formal style. It really kind of brings in the 18th and 19th century vibes into our current home decor, with some of those hallmarks being things like wainscoting, being things like our crown molding. So it's not just about the decor, it can also be pieces of the architecture itself. Moving on to a personal favorite of mine, we are looking at Scandinavian or Scandi. In these Scandinavian or Nordic countries, you don't get a lot of sunlight all the time, so it really works off of those light tones and airiness to bring in as much light as possible while you have it. It's a little bit darker, it's a little bit colder, so it's about coziness, it's about bringing in those textures and that warmth in your style. Here we're looking at those lighter blonde woods, we're looking at a more neutral color palette, and a little bit more focus on minimalistic decor and very functional decor. Generally, everything is going to have a reason for being there. It's not just maybe something decorative, but it also has an exact function. Here we're looking at nothing ornate like we had in that traditional style. Everything is very clean lined, and again, going back to those more simplistic shapes. There is a lot to love about the texture here. So we're looking at either furs or faux furs, depending on your lifestyle. Anything that brings in that kind of coziness or natural look. So rattan, wicker, that can also fit in here. And we're just really looking at different ways to emphasize that light. Sometimes that means no curtains at all. Other times it just means that whereas a traditional home, you might have those heavy drapes, Scandinavian, we're looking at something very light, very airy. This is also all about the concept of hygge. Now I am going to be terrible at explaining this. There's not a direct translation into English. So a lot of people will say it means kind of coziness, but it's so much more than that. It's a mood, it's a feeling, it's an atmosphere, it's what you're creating. So a lot of people will say something like that feeling when you're wrapped up in a blanket with a nice hot drink in front of a fire. it's getting that cozy, warm, happy feeling, but having that throughout your home. So again, a lot of neutrals, but that doesn't mean you can't do color. We're just looking at a little bit more of a muted color palette here. Next up, we have Boho. Now this can work with that muted color palette. A lot of times it's much more well known for our bright, big, bold jewel tones. With Boho, you're looking a little bit of that Moroccan influence, a little bit Southwestern. We are looking at prints, we are looking at patterns, we are looking at a little bit of an eclectic vibe. But what's really great about Boho is that it is all about the collection of your personality. If you're a big traveler, it is about collecting those things from your travel to display in your home. It is really about who you are and how you want to present yourself in a very fun, casual way that's inviting, but it's never boring. Here you can really do a lot of mixing and matching. Again, textures, patterns on patterns. There's not a lot that's off limits here, which can be a little bit of a breath of fresh air for when you feel like you have to be rigidly in one design style or another. There's a lot of woven elements. Macrame is obviously very huge. Hanging plants, bringing nature indoors. So we talked a little bit about plants with Scandinavian. We are looking at even more plants with that bohemian style. And again, it is all about personality here. It's still helpful to kind of stick with a theme. So it's not just, while it is maximalism in its nature and a little bit eclectic, it's not a mess. It is not hoarding. There's still that element of cohesion, even though there's a lot to look at. If you're somebody who loves a bright, bold color, this might be the perfect one for you. The most loved and hated one, Farmhouse, is next. So Farmhouse has gotten a really bad reputation because of how it has been turned into this kind of kitschy, over-the-top, very inauthentic version of itself after it really hit the mainstream and people started just capitalizing on that left and right. Farmhouse can be elegant, it can be very beautiful and kind of subdued and understated. I think it's when we get into that, what I'll call a home goods farmhouse. Again, I love home goods, so no hate there, but I think you all know what I'm talking about. Here we're looking at those rustic elements, a lot of wood, and we are looking at shiplap, butcher block countertops, reclaimed wood, barn doors, and some distressed versions. The positives of Farmhouse, it is cozy, it is approachable, it just seems family oriented. It seems like a place where you can relax and just be with the people you love, and it's very approachable. Big emphasis on the family table, so it's probably going to be a much chunkier piece. You've probably seen all of that kind of X-back chair. That is something that is very standardly Farmhouse. And we're back to that kind of neutral color palette with some big pops of black. Now, if you love this style, some way to make it a little bit more grown up if you're feeling a little bit lost and maybe have made some of the Farmhouse mistakes I've made in the past, get rid of things like your word art. I think that word art has become very synonymous with Farmhouse, and it's doing it a huge disservice because at its roots, Farmhouse can be so beautiful. That being said, not everything needs to be labeled. We don't need signs on the walls telling you which room you're in, because I'm pretty sure you know that without it. We don't need to be told to gather or that we're thankful. So some things to help kind of make it a little bit more grown up, get rid of the word art, some of the excessive barn doors. So I think some of them can be very pretty. They can be very modernized, which might not be exactly what you're looking for. You can obviously go more rustic, but when it's on everything, it just gets to be a little bit much and a little bit gimmicky. Now, a lot of people will tell you that Farmhouse is dead or dying. I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think we're just taking it in a little bit of a more clean, classic direction. Last up, we're looking at Mid-Century Modern. This is very in right now. You have definitely seen these furniture pieces pretty much everywhere. This is a style that was really popularized in the 40s, 50s, 60s. There was a big boom in industry, so all of a sudden we could use things like plastic and vinyl in our furniture pieces that were never available before. So we started having a little bit of fun with what those could do. It does look a little bit more retro, and it has some of these kind of hallmark classic pieces that are just very mid-century modern. Hairpin legs, tapered legs, some of those splayed legs that you're seeing right now that I think are very overdone. So if you are going mid-century modern, vintage, or shopping on something secondhand might be a better bet than buying something brand new that is trying to be mid-century modern, there's just a little bit of a disconnect in that look there. But we're looking at a lot of walnut woods, a lot of darker wood tones, and bringing back those big bold colors, blues, greens, oranges, all of that kind of color that you might be missing from something like a Scandinavian or a farmhouse. You're gonna find it here in mid-century modern. So we talked about tufting in the traditional style with that kind of diamond shape. That square shaped tufting, very mid-century, something you'll see in a lot of the couches, a lot of the other furniture items. You're seeing those really large light bulbs in your chandeliers and pendant lights. The Sputnik light was very popular here and remains popular today. It's a little bit more bold. It can be very fun. And again, there are just some very classic furniture pieces that were introduced in this time period that are still so popular today for good reason. They are absolutely iconic. Now, this style is not necessarily something that I am very into, but it is so popular. You will have no problem finding furniture and decor pieces that fit this style if it speaks to you. So really take a look around and see what you like, what you don't, what wood tones you like. If you like that retro kind of feel, this might be just for you. So these are of course only 5. There are so many, so you'll definitely see part 2, part 3, part 4, going over some more design styles. But some of the best things you can do right now, really look around at what you have, look around at what speaks to you. We're looking a lot at color in your color palette. We're looking at wood tone and basically just kind of some lines. Do you like that sleek look? Do you like more of a curvature? These are all things that will help you determine what works for you. I hope you found something helpful today. If you did, go ahead again, give this video a like, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Until next time, bye.